Robin, I have very fond memories of, especially you, because you took us to Goa and Bombay.
Okay, still remember that. Okay.
Of course. Yeah, that was a student trip, and how can I forget that, right? So thank you for that.
All the best. Wish you all the best, Markose. Okay.
Thank you. All right, Robin, I'll start now.
Yes. Reggie sir.
Okay.
Shall I?
Reggie sir is also there.
You can unmute, sir. Yeah, he's also here. I spotlighted both of them. Sir, a prompt to everyone unmute. Yes.
Okay. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Sir. Very good. The last time I saw you, you had a big beard. Now you're all clean shaven.
That was when I was young. Now it is gray. so it was 25 years back. We were.
Yes. Of course. You still look very young. Yes. Thank you, sir. So you still look very young. Eh?
Oh, good. Thank you. Now, how are you?
Very good, sir. Very good. It's really a privilege to speak with you all and physically see you and Sunil sir as well. So really, in fact, I was telling Robin thanking him for arranging this, because this is my way of giving back to the SILT what I have achieved from SILT, right? So thanks for that.
Okay. So you are also dragging me to by back memories, 25, 26 years back memories.
Yes, of course.
It's a pride and proud to have with you. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. You can start the session. Yeah.
All right. I'll start, Robin, then. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. First of all, thank you, Robin, for the lovely introduction. Thanks to Anne as well. She quoted Albert Einstein and all. Of course, that's a big deal. But good afternoon, everyone, and congrats on joining School of Indian Legal Thought. From my experience, I can assure you that it will be an exciting journey for all of you for the next 5 years. Since we have a very limited time, I would like to have a interactive session if possible. Basically, that means that I'll talk for maybe 20-25 minutes, and then I'll leave the floor for you students to ask me questions so that we can have a two-way session rather than just me speaking. So I intend to do the session in basically four simple steps. In the first one, I will talk about my time in legal thought, which was from 1995 to 2000, really long time back. In fact, some of you may not have been even born by that time. But I'll talk about that time spent in legal thought. Then I'll talk about what I did after I left legal thought. My LL.M journey to London will be the third part. And then I'll finally finish by quickly wrapping up by talking about what I'm currently doing. And then we can have a follow-up question and answer session. But in between, if you have any questions, feel free to drop a line to Robin, and Robin, you can just stop me in between as well if anyone has any specific questions to ask. All right, so let me just quickly start by first of all congratulating you about this admission in legal thought, and that brings me back to 25 years back when I entered for the first time in legal thought. I was the first batch of the 5-year LLB course at Kottayam. You guys are very privileged because you have a very lovely campus right now. But as Sunil sir and Rajesh sir will probably tell you at some stage, we when we joined the first batch, we didn't even have a campus. Our classes used to be held at Nagampadam, near the West End, in a building called as Chevening building. So we started from there, and we have come a long way. And I started from there, and I've come a long way. So basically, I joined the 5-year course in Kottayam, and I'll be honest, I was doing something, and I was not sure whether I wanted to do something which I was doing. Therefore, I decided to join law. Because I couldn't get in some of the other institutions I was aiming for. And some of you might be in that situation today as well, but you got to be positive on that front, that the journey ahead is always uncertain, but always very good. So, so take my example. When I joined, Legal Thought didn't even have a campus. We were at Nagamparam, but look at where Legal Thought is right now. So I started in 1995 when we had a batch of 25 students. When I look back, I really can think about the friendship we had during those 5 years in LLB. And I think I encourage you to do the same for the next 5 years. Study, of course, but also maintain the friendships you will have with your friends for the next 5 years. I understand it's a batch of 50 now. That's also not very big. But when you spend 5 years with your friends, that influences you a lot. And that's one of the key points I wanted to talk about during this time. That it might be a friend in your batch or a senior or a junior later on who might inspire you in your journey for future. In my case, there was a friend I had, which is a friend called as Jacob, who was my teammate. And we used to push each other and we inspired each other. So that's my story in Legal Thought from 95 to 2000, where I spent 5 years. And to be honest, the first 3 years actually went just cleanly without any incident. And it's only during the third year that I realized that I wanted to do something extra. And I started participating in moot courts, and then I went on to win some competitions and went abroad. I'll talk about that later on in my talk. As well as talk about how I did that and what that led to. Anyway, so I finished my LLB 5-year course in Legal Thought, and in between, as I said, in the third year, I participated in moot court competitions. I was privileged enough to go to Vienna in Austria for a competition. I was privileged enough to go to New York in between, along with my friend Jacob, for a competition. And that kind of led me to seeing the world outside of Kottayam. And that kind of inspired me to explore the world outside Kottayam. And I was very motivated that I want to go overseas. But as is with most of us, we don't come from very rich family. And if you want to go abroad to study, it can be a challenge. So I was very determined that I will get a scholarship, full scholarship, to go abroad. And fortunately, I was able to get that in the year 2001. I'll talk about that as well later on. So anyway, I finished law and legal thought, and then I worked in the High Court with the senior lawyer. He's a senior lawyer now. Now he's a judge as well, Advocate Markose Thomas. I worked with him for a couple of years, and then I went to do my LL.M in University of London on the British LL.M scholarship, which Robin talked about. Now, my LL.M journey in London was one of the best times of my life. Of course, as anybody can presume, going overseas on a full scholarship is a big deal, and when you don't have to spend any money of your own, that's like icing on the cake, right? So just to quickly also add that after I finished my LL.M, I came back to India. I worked in Mumbai with a law firm called as AZB & Partners, which is one of the leading law firms in India, corporate law firms. And then I used to do corporate law, and I used to what they call as M&A, mergers and acquisition deals, inbound and outbound, both from India and overseas. And in one of the deals, while I was in Singapore, I was approached by a Singapore lawyer to join his law firm, and that's how I ended up in Singapore 16 years back. So that's the story from Legal Thought to London to back to Mumbai to Singapore, and this is where I am. But more than that, what I wanted to talk with you today is basically 2 or 3 key things, which I learned in Legal Thought actually. And that kind of changed my life as well. And I'll probably start with the incident which is very, very personal to me. I don't share this story much with my close friends or anybody. I have, of course, shared with my wife and some few friends and family members. But this is an opportunity for me to share with you guys. So let me share that story as well. So I was, as I said, in the first 2 years, not much happened. We were in Kottayam, and in the third year, I realized that this is not the right way to lead your life or to study. You need to do something which changes your life as well as, can lead to the aspirations you have. And by chance, it happened that one day I came to college and I saw on a notice board about this competition, which was going to be held in Pondicherry. It was a moot court competition. I knew a little bit about moot court, but more than the moot court, what inspired me was the fact that it was going to be held in Pondicherry. Now, this was an opportunity for me to go outside of Kerala in those early days, and going outside of Kerala itself was a motivation. So me and my friend Jacob, we participated. We won the competition internally within the legal thought, and therefore we represented the college and we went up to Pondicherry. And in Pondicherry, we went for the moot court, and when the competition was held, we took the lot. We ended up facing National Law School. National Law School Bangalore is one of the, as probably some of you know, is one of the leading law schools in India. And when we faced them in this competition, it was a humbling experience because they beat us hands down. It was kind of really a one-way street. It was like India playing against probably Bangladesh. They were India and we were Bangladesh. But the interesting thing which happened in that incident was that it kind of opened up my eyes, saying that you don't go to competitions, you don't represent your college unless you're really 100% prepared for it. As I said, I went to Pondicherry more to see Pondicherry rather than to participate in the competition, and was humbled by National Law School. In fact, they made fun of us as well. And that kind of inspired me that, hey, when you do something, you got to give more than 100% of it. You got to put 110% of it. And that's when things happen. So me and Jacob made a pact that day when we were humbled by National Law School Bangalore that we will go again in this competition, but we will prepare and we will go and do 100% of our effort. So in fact, we prepared a lot ourselves. We went to Delhi, we prepared, we met lawyers, we met professors, and we prepared. And we went for the moot court again the next year. And this time it was in Chennai, and we faced National Law School again, and we beat them. So that's kind of a story I wanted to share, that if you are motivated enough, you put in the hard work enough, you can actually be the best law school in India. It doesn't matter whether you're Kottayam or whether Pondicherry or whether you're in Chennai or Bangalore, Bombay. If you put in effort, you can actually compete with anywhere, with anybody in India and overseas as well. So that doesn't matter where you come from. That's not the thing. The thing is putting in the effort and being inspired and working with your friends and making sure that we put in the 110% which is required. So that's one story which I wanted to share. And the reason why I shared that story is because that changed my life. That changed my life because we did very well in that competition, and we went on to represent MG University in New York. And we did well, and we represented MG University again in Vienna in Austria, and we did well. And what that led to is what I call as a spiral effect, like one thing leads to another. So went to Pondicherry, got humbled, went to Chennai, did well, went to New York, went to Vienna. Now what happened is that inspired me to look beyond Kottayam. I know it sounds a bit cringy, but that kind of inspired me to look beyond Kottayam and see the wide world and how beautiful it is. And that kind of inspired me that, yes, I want to study overseas. And how do you go overseas? You need to go get a scholarship, right? So I started inquiring about it. I found a lot of sources. Those days, internet is still, initial days not very popular. Google hasn't even been invented yet. Google came in 2001, I believe. So this is before that. So for scholarship, what I did was I used to take a train on a weekend, which is Saturday morning. I used to take a train from Kottayam. I was staying in Changanasheri those days. So from Changanasheri to Trivandrum every Saturday for 6 months, go to the British Library, because that's the only library where you can find sources about scholarships and LL.Ms. Spend time, take photocopies, come back to Changanasheri, look at it, apply for universities, apply for scholarships, and kind of know the process. So the point being that You got to step out of your comfort zone. If I was just sitting in Chanakshari and thinking that opportunities will come, that doesn't happen. You got to move out of your comfort zone sometimes. So that kind of led me to the LL.M story, and the LL.M story would not have happened if I haven't got into that moot court and haven't got representing MG University in those international competitions. So my point is that yes, Kottayam is a great place. Legal thought is of course very good, but you got to sometimes step out also to see what is there to offer. So during this next 5 years when you are studying, I encourage you to participate in moot courts, do internships, go join some lawyers for a few months during vacations, go to the High Court, speak with senior lawyers, understand what they do. If you get the opportunity, do some courses to understand something beyond law as well. Because a complete law, to become a complete lawyer, you need to be a master more than about law. So that's one thing. The second thing I wanted to talk about is the fact that, and that's a habit which I had, and it's a personal thing. So I thought it will help some of you. So I wanted to share this to inspire you: is read an English newspaper every day. Now, this is a habit which I have from childhood, and what that does is two things. One, it improves your English. I'm talking about English newspaper. It improves your English. Second, it gives you a full, thorough knowledge about what's happening around in the world, not just in Kottayam, or not just in Kerala, or not just in India. And that helps you when you face people in your profession or in your personal life. And once you have that, that kind of leads you to a lot of places and the knowledge you gain from that. So those are the 2 points I wanted to share with you about what you can do when you are doing this 5 years LLB course. I also wanted to share with you a thing or two about what I'm doing right now, which is working as a legal counsel in a multinational company. And there's a huge opportunity there. And if some of you intend to join a multinational company or a big company as a legal counsel, and what's the path for that, maybe I can share that as well with you. So the way to join a corporate world is basically, of course, you finish your law degree, get enrolled in the bar, and then usually start practicing either in the low court or in the high court. In my case, I went to the high court, practiced there for a couple of years with Markose Thomas. And then after my LL.M, I joined the law firm. Now, to join a law firm is not easy. To join a law firm is very competitive. And that's why I said that the knowledge you need is beyond law as well. So to specialize in something, so I did my LL.M in London, and I specialize in insurance law and reinsurance law. And because of that, I could get into a law firm in London. I did a summer internship, and then I went back to Mumbai and worked there as well. And then I became an M&A lawyer. So that's the path. You finish law, you do litigation for a couple of years, you do masters. Masters is not necessary. You can go directly as well. Join a law firm, big law firms in Bangalore, Chennai, Bombay, or Delhi. And then you kind of join big multinational companies, be it IBM or General Electric, TCS, Infosys. There are a lot of companies who look for lawyers to work for them. So that's the path to working with in the corporate law firm. What I do in my daily life out here in Singapore is I work with a multinational company, which is currently based out of Japan and Hong Kong. It's a huge company with 4,000 employees, and we have a legal department of around 16 people. So I had that department basically managing legal compliance and risk management. What that means is that we take care of all our internal legal issues. We also deal with regulators. What I mean by regulators is that in the insurance world, these would be, in India, for example, these would be the IRDA, Insurance Regulatory Development Authority, or the Reserve Bank of India. So equivalent of that, we have regulators in all around this region, in Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam. So I take care of those matters as well. And I manage a team of around 16 lawyers who are, of course, not in, there are a couple of Indian lawyers, but most of them are non-Indian lawyers. So that's the story, or that's the work experience I wanted to share. But as I said, for me, and I told this to Robin before the start, I mean, whatever I am, whatever I will be, has a huge impact from where I started in legal thought, and the friends I made, the teachers I met, and the inspirations I got from them. So very happy to see Sumi Sir and Rajesh sir again. But I mean, these are the kind of people who can inspire you. So when you are in college, sometimes we try to be a student life, but I mean, at the end of the day, teachers are who inspire you the most. So learn from them. I'm sure they will guide you as well. Listen to them, and you'll be in the right path. So Robin, for a while, I'll just stop and see if there are any questions from anybody, and if not, then I'll talk a little bit more about life here or before.
Yes. Thank you very much for that very inspiring journey that you mentioned, from School of Indian Legal Thought up till where you are right now. So I open the session for the students to ask any questions to Markose sir. If you have anything based on what he spoke so far, or anything that you want to know further from him, please make use of this opportunity. If you have a question, you can raise your hands and I can unmute you. Yes, Nivedita.
Sir, good afternoon. Sir, I have sir, am I audible?
Yes, Nivedita. Please go ahead.
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, so I have two questions for you. The first one is, you already told us that you will tell us about that scholarship. I just want to know, like, what are the opportunities, or how can we, from this, how can we just go abroad and study, because it's very expensive and it's not that easy to afford that. So, and the second thing is if you are going to an MNC or in a private firm itself, what are those people expecting from us? Like, if they're expecting any kind of experience or high rank or mark, or what are they really expecting from us if we are going to a really big firm? So that's what I want to ask you.
Okay, sure. Good, very good question, Nivedita. Thanks for that. So let me start by talking about the overseas part first, right? And you rightly mentioned, and I think I also mentioned that if you ask your batch or any other batch, do you want to study overseas? Let me assure you, 90% of them will say yes. But is that so easy? Of course, it's not easy. There are only two ways you can do it. Either you have to spend your money, which can be very expensive, or you have to get a scholarship. So I mean, I am a live example of that there are scholarships, and there are scholarships which even legal thought can get, provided, as I said, you are focused about it. What I mean by that is that, there's a saying in English that if you don't drill, you don't get oil, which is basically, if you don't try, you don't get anything. So to give that example, let me tell you, I went on a British Chevening scholarship. There are at least 15 to 20 scholarships in the market which are available for students, which students can apply for, but they don't apply for, thinking that, scholarships are only for toppers, and scholarships are only for National Law School, Bangalore, or from Calcutta, or from Delhi or something. But let me tell you, example I give you about how I got the scholarship. And again, a very personal story. So I got called for the interview for the scholarship because I participated in moot courts and I was an average student. Let me tell you, you don't need to be a topper in your class or university to go overseas to get scholarship or to do well in life. In fact, if you ask me, most of the topper in the class are, they usually do okay. Usually it's the middle benchers and the back benchers who go far in life. So I'm not saying that you should not study. What I'm saying is that it's not just studies which leads you to success. It's more than that. So I'll give you that example of scholarship, how I got the Chevening one, right? So I was called for the interview because of my performance in moot courts, and I ended up in Delhi for the interview. And in the interview, so the British Chevening Scholarship is given by the British government, and one of the panelists in the interview is actually a recite from England, Englishman who comes all the way from England to interview. And he asked me one question, and I'm sure they asked most of the students about, most of the interviews about it. Why do you deserve this scholarship? And so this is the thing where I again, thanks Legal Thought for getting me into that scholarship, because when what I replied when he asked me that, I said, sir, scholarship should be given to them who need it. Now, when you have a student from a Bangalore or an UJS or wherever, they get the best of both worlds, and usually they are privileged kids who don't need it. Somebody from Kottayam needs it because he has struggled. He has come from a small town. He doesn't know about it, LL.Ms. He doesn't know about university. So I was kind of able to put that flavor of a small town boy from Kottayam who deserves it more than a city boy from a Bangalore who may not be as deserving. So that's the kind of story which you can spill from being from a small town like Kottayam. But my point is that there are a lot of scholarships available. You got to dig for it. You got to find it. You got to apply for it. Unless you apply, you don't get it. You need to be also doing a little bit better, like more than an average student in your class, and you need to do something extra. In my case, it was moot court. In your case, it could be something else. That's the part about LL.M. You also asked me about the part about the multinational companies. Now, multinational companies, the thing with multinational companies is that usually they don't take fresh graduates unless, of course, you are somebody who's done extremely well. So they don't take fresh graduates, which means that you need to get some experience, and that experience could be usually in somebody who's doing a legal thought would be at the lower court or at the high court, get that 2 years, 3 years of experience, do some kind of commercial law, corporate law a little bit, litigation is also fine, and then you apply and, hopefully they call for the interview, and at the end of the day, it all depends on how you perform in the interview. And that's why I stressed the part about reading, right? I mean, I told you that if you have this habit of reading one English newspaper, just one, 8 Times of India, Indian Express, Economic Times, doesn't matter. Just read one newspaper every day, top to bottom, for the next 5 years. I assure you, you'll be so good. You'll be so good in your knowledge, in your English, in the confidence you have, that you'll be on par with anybody in this in India or overseas. So trying that, if you don't, as I said, if you don't drill, you don't get the oil. If you don't put in your effort, you don't get into LL.M, you don't get scholarship, you don't get into MNC. So putting in that effort is extremely important. I hope I answered that, Nivedita.
Nivedita, you have a follow-up question?
Yes, sir. Thank you. No, sir, I don't have any.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Vasudev, you have a question? Yes.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, Vasudev.
Yes, Vasudev.
Sir, I wanted to ask about our profile. Actually, when we apply for a scholarship or for a job, will our participation in some kind of a co-curricular activity, like you said you participate in moot courts, will that be an advantage over other candidates?
Absolutely. I think so. Vasu, I mean, what is important is, I mean, how do you stand out, right? I mean, the world has so many good candidates right now, good students everywhere, left, right, and center, you name it, everybody is good, right? Because of the way the internet world, everybody has knowledge, everybody knows about everything. How do you stand out? You need to stand out. And in my case, it was moot court. In your case, it could be something else. But if you ask me in a law student's life, other than moot court, I think it could be debates. Sports is too late now. It could be writing research reports. It could be putting research publications in law journals. It could be internships with judges. It could be internship with senior counsels. It could be writing something and publishing it. So it's a lot of avenues, but you need to stand out. Yes. Otherwise, you are just a drop in the ocean in today's world.
Sir, can you elaborate on other competitions besides the moot court?
Other competitions for lawyers, I can't. Law students, I don't think there are many. But as I said, the other avenues could be research reports, writing something, publishing it in law journals like KLT, SEC, AIR. It could be doing good internships. You have got 5 years, right? From the third year, I encourage you to do internships. You will get summer vacations every year. You will have that 1 or 2 months. Do internship. It's not paid for sometimes, but it's okay. If you put in that effort, get that experience, it will help you in future. So do internship with lawyers, do internships with judges, do internship with professors, a lot of other avenues. But of course, you need to make that extra in your CV, right? After that, when they call you for the interview, it all depends on you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Vasudev. Yes, Mark. So now doing internship is part of their curriculum now. It is mandatory that they complete, I think, 2 internships in a year, and they have to submit a report at the end of their course. So.
And what kind of internships are these, Ruben?
I think there is a particular system wherein first year they have to be part of the trial court process. Then at the high court, then they have the option to branch out to NGOs or corporate firms.
Very good.
So
very good.
They have a
very privileged kids, I would say. Then we never had this.
Yeah, I am actually very happy to know that you. Out of your own initiative, I can relate to that to an extent, because you mentioned that even before Google was invented, I can imagine how difficult it is for us to find information about what are the opportunities available, what is it that you can do. Of course, I had an information from you that these are the possibilities, but when you go out for a moot court competition and when you actually meet students from other law schools who are like the top 10 law schools, then you know that these are the opportunities available for them and how can we do it. Even for us, we didn't have the internship as a requirement for the course, so we used to do it on our own initiative. In that sense, there is an information overload for the students now, where everything is available at the fingertips. So yeah, I think, and the competition is also that high. In one of the sessions, one speaker said that every year 16,000 law graduates pass out from different colleges in India.
Yeah. No, so Ruben, I think the key thing is that, and this could have happened to me as well. And this is exactly the key point, the key message which I wanted to share with the students is that, there are so many law schools, there's so many good law schools all around India. Legal Thought is one of them. But that shouldn't, let me put it in bold and underline it. Just because you are in a law school in Kottayam, never ever think that Legal Thought is a bad law school, or it's not so highly ranked. Legal Thought is an excellent law school. Don't blame your law school. If you put in the effort, you can do wonders. Always remember that, always. The key thing is that, I think, again, was it John F. Kennedy or somebody who said that, a good craftsman never blames his tools, right? Similarly, if you're good, you put in the effort in the 5 years, I'm absolutely 110% sure. If you want to go overseas for LL.M with a full scholarship, you can. If you want to join an MMC, you can. If you want to practice in the lower court or the high court or the Supreme Court, you can. 5 years is a good time. You just started a week or 2 weeks back. Put in that effort, be focused. I assure you, we'll speak in 5 years' time. You will be where you aim to be.
Yes. If there are no other further questions, maybe you can conclude what you wanted to keep.
So few things I wanted to share with you, students, because I've been there and experienced that as well. I in fact wrote them. So these are the few things which I think you must do for the next 5 years. Point number 1: stay hungry and curious. Not hungry in the appetite sense, but stay hungry for knowledge. Stay hungry for knowledge, not just about law, but more than law. So what that means is, as I said, read a paper, read an English newspaper every day, and you will be, as I said, amazed what knowledge you can gain from there. Point number 2: world is very wide and exciting. What I mean by that is that think beyond Kotte, think beyond Kerala, think beyond India, think world. There's a huge wild world out there ready to be explored. So don't be like a frog in a well, thinking that, okay, this is my small ambition, I want to be XYZ. No, I advise you to think big. There's another saying, right? Aim for the sky so you can reach the treetop, right? So stay hungry and curious. World is a wide and exciting place. Third point: try different things. You got 5 years. Good that the internships are there. Explore that. Don't take it as a granted thing that, oh, legal thought is asking me to do internship, I will ignore it. No, don't do that. Gain that internship perspective. Point number 4: never surround yourself with negative people. Now, Ruben knows, and I think Sunil Senek sir and Vijay sir also knows. One of my best friends, his name is Jacob. He's in High Court right now. I was literally with him all the time, and he was the positive energy for me. And he used to inspire me, right, to face the national school, do LL.M abroad, and positivity. So surround yourself with friends who are positive. If you surround yourself with negative people, you will become negative. So that's something you must always aim for. Surround yourself with friends who are positive in life. Another point is, funnily enough, no offense, but always remember that the class topper will not be the one who will do the best in life. So yes, it's good to top the class or the university or whatever, but it's more than studies. So put in your effort, but keep your eyes and ears open for opportunities, because opportunity will knock at some stage and you got to grab it. So that's the key things I wanted to share before I ended. Thanks. And of course, if you have any more questions, more than happy to take it.
Thank you very much. I feel like I've been part of a TED Talk. I am myself very inspired. Thank you very much, Markose sir. We now have Dr. Arati, who is a faculty at School of Indian Legal Thought. Ma'am, would you like to speak a few words?
No, I just want to thank you, Markose Thomas, because this is one of such an inspiring session for our students. And it's a privilege to have you today. And I hope today's interaction will definitely the students will benefit, and probably in future, probably this talk will be considered as one of the reference point in which next generation can reiterate what you said today. Thank you so much on behalf of School of Indian Legal Thought and the faculty community. I extend our heartfelt thanks to you. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your thoughts. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thanks, Ms. Arti and Robin. As I told Robin before, I think this was my opportunity to thank Legal Thought as well. And I think I said it before, whatever I am, whatever I will be, a lot has to do with Legal Thought. So thanks for giving me this opportunity as well.
Thank you, ma'am. If there are no further questions, we can move to the vote of thanks. Anyone? Questions? Okay. I invite Shifana Nasreen to do the honors for the vote of thanks. Shifana.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Shifana Nasreen, and I am here to present the vote of thanks for today's induction program. Once a great message, feeling gratitude and not expecting. It is like wrapping a person and not giving. On behalf of the School of India Legal Talk and all the students, I like to thank our chief guest, Mr. Markose Thomas, for taking his precious time out and enlightening us with the knowledge. Today's session was full of knowledge and interesting things. Once again, I like to thank Markose Thomas for taking out time from his busy schedule and enlightening us with the knowledge. I would also like to thank our HOD, Disney Ma'am, for conducting this session and inviting Markose Thomas to conduct it. I want to thank the entire faculty members who really worked hard to make this event successful. Also, thank you to all the students present here for paying your attention and learning. I will end my speech here. Thank you.
Thank you, Shifana. I'm sorry, I was on mute. Thank you, Shifana. I think we can wind up this session. I particularly thank Markose sir for taking time to talk to us and inspire us. This personally, me and the students as well. I also want to thank Reggie sir and Sunil sir for taking time to just come and join this session from their teaching schedules. Thank you, Reggie sir and Sunil sir. Also thank Arati ma'am for your words. So we have come to an end of the session. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.